Okay, what if I told you the solution to our modern collective burnout isn't some new productivity hack, but a blueprint that's, get this, over 2,700 years old? Today, we're going to dig into an ancient text that, believe it or not, gives an incredibly powerful diagnosis for why we're all so tired, and it offers a pretty radical path toward real, sustainable impact.
Man, this quote, it just hits home, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. We're all running faster than ever. Our calendars are jam-packed. But is any of it actually leading to real change? Or are we just stuck on this hamster wheel of activity that just leads to, well, exhaustion?
So what if the answer isn't some newfangled management theory, but like we said, an ancient systems analysis? We're going to look at a text from the prophet Isaiah, chapter 58. And look, we're not going to treat this just as a religious text, but as a surprisingly sharp diagnostic tool for our whole burnout culture. It really does offer a blueprint for a different way forward.
All right, first up, let's really get a handle on the scale of this problem. Because this isn't about you not trying hard enough. This is a systemic issue, something we're going to call the performance trap.
Okay, look at this number. A staggering 76% of people say they feel burned out. 76%. That's not a sign of a weak workforce. It's a massive red flag that our systems, they're just fundamentally broken. When we glorify being exhausted all the time, what we're really doing is admitting that our systems have failed.
And this number paints a picture. This is what that ancient text, Isaiah 58, calls a yoke or a heavy burden. Just think of a yoke as any kind of structural inequality, right? A system that's literally designed to benefit a handful of people at the expense of everybody else. So yeah, this isn't just a statistic. It's a snapshot of a broken system.
So what's happened is we've basically become masters of performance. It's like we've perfected the theater of activity. You know the drill. We've got the inspiring mission statements, the corporate wellness apps, the fancy values printed on the wall. But it's all just become a show. We're completely obsessed with the motion of work, but we seem to have totally lost the script for creating any meaningful progress.
So, how in the world does this ancient text diagnose our very modern problem? Well, it turns out with stunning precision. It lays out two totally different ways of thinking about what impact even means.
Okay, so Isaiah 58 frames this whole thing as a contrast between what it calls a fake fast and a true fast. The fake fast, that's all about performance. It's about visible activity, looking good, pursuing your own agenda. But the true fast, the one that actually matters, that's all about systemic repair. It's about liberating other people, meeting basic needs, fixing what's broken in the system. It's really the difference between just looking righteous and actually doing justice. All right, so if performance is the problem, what's the solution? Well, the text gives us a surprisingly clear and actionable blueprint. And here's the key. It's not about simple charity. It's about becoming social architects.
Just look at the language here. It's so active. Loose the chains of injustice, undo the heavy burdens, let the oppressed go free, and break every yoke. This is not the language of just donating to charity, right? This is the language of structural change. It's a call to actually audit our systems and ask the hard question, what here is crushing people? And notice, only after you address those big systemic issues does it move on to meeting fundamental needs like food and shelter. It's about fixing the foundation first.
And this leads to a really powerful idea. The text suggests these actions aren't just, nice moral suggestions. It frames them as a kind of social physics. The idea is, if you align your systems with these principles of repair, certain positive outcomes are basically guaranteed to follow. It's cause and effect.
So what's the first promised outcome? Healing. Your healing will quickly appear. When you get rid of the structures that are crushing people, healing speeds up. And this applies everywhere, right? In our companies, our communities, even our own personal health. Burnout starts to fade, trust gets rebuilt, and positive change can actually happen fast.
And check this out. We have modern data that actually backs up this ancient idea. Our traditional justice system, which is mostly about punishment, has a crazy high 68% rearrest rate. But restorative justice models, which are all about repairing harm, literally breaking yokes, that rate plummets to just 14%. I mean, the proof is right there. When you fix the system, healing follows.
Okay, here's the next promise, and the imagery is just beautiful. It's a principle of sustainable flourishing. Instead of feeling like this dry, depleted desert of burnout, you, your family, your team, you can become like a well-watered garden, a source of life that never runs dry. It's the absolute opposite of the extractive burnout model we're all so used to.
And again, we have a perfect modern example.
Microsoft Japan decided to try a 4-day workweek. They built a system around human flourishing and rest. And the result? Not a drop in productivity, but a 40% increase. This just proves it. Systems designed for human dignity don't just feel better, they actually perform better. It's not a trade-off.
All right, all of this is building to a final capstone idea. It's a principle that our modern hustle culture has, well, pretty much thrown in the trash. But it's absolutely central to this ancient blueprint for a sustainable life and organization.
And that final piece is the Sabbath. Now hold on, this isn't just about taking a day off. In this blueprint, it's a radical litmus test for the health of a whole system. An organization that can truly, genuinely rest is demonstrating that it trusts its own foundations. It's saying we don't need constant, frantic human effort just to keep the lights on.
And this flips the script entirely. It means that when a company brags about its 80-hour work weeks, that is not a badge of honor. It's a public confession of systemic failure. A culture that can't rest is basically screaming that it doesn't trust its own systems to work.
So this brings us to the final, really challenging question that this ancient text poses to every single one of us today. And it doesn't matter if you're a CEO, a parent, a manager, or just part of a team.
This is the gut check question right here. Let's be honest with ourselves. Does my success require someone else's exhaustion? Does it depend on someone else being invisible or exploited? Is the convenience in my life being generated by someone else's burnout?
Because at the end of the day, our good intentions, our pretty mission statements, they don't matter nearly as much as our actual structural impact. The real measure of integrity isn't what you intend to do, it's what happens to the most vulnerable person in your system.
So when you think about your legacy, what do you want it to be? A long list of performance metrics and quarterly earnings that, let's be real, are forgotten almost immediately? Or will it be the lasting, real impact you had by breaking the yokes that were holding people back?
So yeah, this 2,700-year-old blueprint leaves us with a really clear choice. Are we going to keep playing the game, just continuing the theater of performance, chasing activity that we know only leads to exhaustion? Or are we going to take on the harder, but so much more meaningful work of alignment? To become repairers, people who build systems where everyone can actually flourish. It really is up to us.